appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I really don't know where to start at, but I want to pass this out and let everybody look at it.
Okay, it needs to be turned up.
Do the fans need to be turned down or lower some?
I can do without them, I can go back y'all. I'll turn it on.
Yeah, just turn them
Someone
on.
you have?
That's the only one I have yet. Well, I have one, a small one here for, that I'm gonna be.
Okay, I'll go make some copies. Yeah.
That's good.
I asked Nancy, she said the
I
copy,
thought
that might not
copier
be
was
working.
messed up.
Is it working?
No, I didn't think it was working.
Okay.
Not working.
I'm just gonna just pass it around to everybody
Okay.
look at it.
Just take a look.
Is it in the copy room? I thought Doreen moved it, so I don't know if I can get to it. I'll go see.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
I wouldn't worry about it right now. Just let them look
Okay.
at the picture.
I'll go check.
I don't know how to turn it up. He didn't
Okay.
get permission to turn it. She took all that stuff off.
Okay.
It's either on or off, that's all it is. Just move it closer.
Huh?
Move the thing closer to you or speak up a little louder.
Oh,
Let
it's-
me move it up. There you
Is that better?
go. Oh, yeah.
Okay. What this is, it's a logo, and it's a logo of the World Health Organization. But it's not only the World Health Organization, but it's a logo for health and healing is what it's supposed to be. If anybody's familiar with Blue Cross Blue Shield, on the Blue Shield, or the Blue Cross Blue Shield, they have the same logo there. It's a rod with a serpent wrapped around it. If you watch Fox News, you've probably seen it on Fox News. But if you look real close at it, if they can,
She's just gonna pass it around.
They're passing it, the copier's not in there. I have to work on that.
well, where did the paper go? Oh, it's still
Yeah,
there?
it's
Pass it
around.
around.
If you look at it real good, it shows that serpent that is wrapped around that rod. And in the background is a globe. It's a picture of the earth with the earth with the continents on it. And up around the globe comes two branches of wheat. And with that serpent coiled around there, his head is looking at the branch of wheat on the right, but he's not looking at the branch of the wheat on the left. Now this logo is the flag of the corporate seal of the World Health Organization. It's called the Rod of Asclepius. Asclepius was a Greek god, but this rod goes all the way back with the Israelites. That rod is God's rod. And the serpent wrapped around it. Asclepius mythology. And as you know, the serpent is a representation of Satan or the devil. And it's coiled about this rod. In the middle of the background is the world or the globe, which represents the present evil age. Surrounding the entire logo is two branches of wheat, one on the right and one on the left. In Jesus' parable of the sower, the wheat represents the righteous or the good seed. It says that he is the sower. If you look at Matthew's gospel, it says he is the sower. The Son of Man sows the seed, the good seed. And then as you continue to read, it says the devil sows the tares. That's the counterfeit. So what that represents, one side of it is representing the righteous, and the other side, he's fixing to strike the righteous, but he's ignoring the ones on the left because he already has them in his kingdom. So the kingdom is on, you got a kingdom of light, you got a kingdom of darkness, and he's the darkness behind there. If you go to Exodus chapter 4 in your Bibles, I'm not going to read everything that I have here about this because I'm going to go someplace else with it a little bit, but in verse 1 it says, and Moses answered God saying, but look, because God wanted Moses to go to Pharaoh and the Egyptians and tell them to let his people go. And he knew that Pharaoh was going to refuse to let him go. So the Bible says he hardened his heart. But anyway, it says Moses responded by saying that they wouldn't believe him. They wouldn't hear his voice or what he was to say. And the Lord appeared. In verse 2 it says, so the Lord said unto him, what is that in your hand? And he said, a rod. And then God said, I cast it on the ground. So he cast it on the ground and it became a serpent. And Moses ran from it. Then the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out your hand and take it by the tail. So he stretched out his hand and he caught by the tail and became a rod back into his hand. Well, eventually he goes to Pharaoh. But at first, he told God that he wasn't a very good speaker to be able to speak. So God said, okay, Aaron's going to be coming along, and you give Aaron the words that I tell you to speak. In other words, God told Moses that he was going to be in God's position, and Aaron's going to be in his position. The Bible says calls it Aaron's rod, but in actuality, it's Moses' rod. Now, the Bible says that there is a book called the Book of Jasher. It's mentioned in Joshua and one of the books of the Kings. And in the book of Jasher, it goes into great detail about this rod. And this rod was made out of solid sapphire, and it had God's name engraved on it. And in the book it says that that's what God, when he created the heavens and the earth, he used that rod to create the heavens and the earth by speaking it into existence. Well, he passed that rod to Adam, and it was going down through the Hebrew line. And Adam passed it to Noah. Noah passed it to Shem, and Shem's the Hebrew line. And then it went down to Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. They all had possession of it. And then it went to Joseph. And Israel passed it to Joseph while they was in the land of Egypt. And it says that after Joseph died, after a period of years, the Pharaoh didn't remember who Joseph was. And the Egyptians went in there to his house after he died, and they got possession of that rod. And the book of Jasher says that the Egyptians gave it to Reuel or Jethro, which was, as it turns out, was going to be Moses' father-in-law. After Moses killed the Egyptian because he was mistreating the Hebrews, and he ran, God wanted him to go back over there. So he went back over there, and when he went back over there, Jethro had him arrested, and they placed him in a dungeon. And he was in the dungeon. Well, Zipporah which was Jethro's daughter, which he eventually married. She was going and visiting him every day in that dungeon. And they was gonna get married and everything, but Jethro didn't agree with the marriage. So he didn't want his daughter to marry him, and she was going and telling him about the God of the Hebrews, because Moses was telling her about the God of the Hebrews, everything he had done for him and all this. So she started talking to Reuel or Jethro about it. Well, to make a long story short, when Reuel had possession of this rod, he placed it in his garden. And he put it so far into the ground that they couldn't get it out. And all of these warriors of them people wanted to marry his daughter, and they all tried to pull it out of the ground, and none of them could pull it out of the ground. And it says that only one man would be able to pull that rod up out of the ground, and it was Moses. So Moses, eventually Reuel let him out of prison. And one day Moses went out into the garden and he was praying to God, and he looked over across that garden and he seen that rod sticking up, and it got his attention. So he went over to the rod and he pulled it up out of the ground. He placed his hand on there and it pulled it right up out of the ground. It says Reuel came out there and saw it, and he was amazed because nobody was able to get that rod up out of the ground. And so he let them get married and everything. So, but the book actually tells you a lot of other things that Moses did with that rod. But in the Bible, what God said, they went over to Pharaoh, and Aaron had possession of the rod. So everything that Moses commanded, Aaron did. Well, they eventually threw that rod down on the ground, and Pharaoh's sorcerers did the same thing. But it says that Aaron's rod ate their rod. Serpents, Aaron's serpents ate their serpents. And it doesn't tell you who the sorcerers are, but we'll see who they are in a little bit. But once all of them was for signs and miracles that God was performing. They used all them. That's what they used to cast all them. Whenever they waved that rod across there, every time they waved it across,